Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Week 3 League of Legends Fantasy Football. Um, so I'm just going to kind of get right into it. I'm going to give Mirza congratulations for being top scorer. Both the Mirzas, back-to-back top scoring. That's what's up. Gotta congratulate the winners, I guess. But let's kick it off with some Week 3 action. Last week, there was a lot of really close matchups. This week, I anticipate a couple really close ones again. It's pretty exciting to watch matchups come down to like the last 0.2, 0.3. It's just awesome. This week, I'll be playing against Infi. We already know who my vote is for winning this one. Obviously, it's me. Lamar Jackson versus Josh Allen. Josh Allen may be one of the top QBs for fantasy, but Lamar Jackson could score the same amount of points in any night. So let's just hope that happens. ETN versus James Cook. Give me ETN all day. James Cook just got 3 touchdowns, dude. If that happens again, I'll drop kick my door down. Williams versus Singletary. They're both trash. Let's be honest. Let's just be real here. They're both dog meat. Both touchdown dependent running backs. Let's just hope one of them scores. Adams versus Marvin Harrison. I think Marvin Harrison, like, overall is in like a better state of receiver, but since he's a rookie and like he's got the only upside he really has, he's got them fresh legs. You know what I'm saying? Devontae Adams is really good. Minshew looks like he's actually throwing him the ball, so that's good. So either Marvin Harrison's going to either have another week where Kyler doesn't throw him the ball at all, or he's going to get a 2-3 touchdown game again and I'm screwed. But let's just hope that doesn't happen. So I guess I'll give that matchup to Marvin Harrison just for having that young blood. Wilson versus Ayuk. Give me Wilson. Ayuk won't be competing against Debo this week, but I just think Garrett Wilson's the better overall receiver. I think it's just a matter of time before Aaron Rodgers figures it out. Andrews versus Njoku. Bro, I don't even look at misses. Dude, you know what? He was practicing. He'll be fine. Keep him in. He'll be fine. Mooney versus Reed. Don't know if that's going to stay there, but Reed is pretty solid. He's pretty solid, but I think without Jordan Love, he might not actually get to see the ball being thrown that often his way. So that's tough. So could explode and rip one off. He's a really athletic dude. Mooney, on the other hand, is a solidified WR2. Kirk Cousins seems to be getting more comfortable with him. Game 1, it was a fluke, man. Just didn't get the ball thrown to him. Week 2, got a good amount of targets, healthy amount of targets, did a lot with the ball. He's looking good. So I'm going to give that matchup to Money Mooney. Straight bias, though. And Jigbu versus Coleman. I'm going to give me Jackson Smith and Jigba. He's starting to turn it up. He looked really good last week, and the week before that too. He started looking really. He's looking real solid. Keon Coleman, just like, will he get the ball thrown to him? I guess we'll see. Baker versus Jordan Love, dude. This guy thinks Jordan Love is playing, dude. He's got 2 players he thinks are playing, dude. You know what? Keep him in. He's playing too. Fuck it. Saints versus Eagles. Give me the Saints. Better defense, better offense. Just better team, man. And I'm just gonna keep saying that until it becomes true, even though it's not. Fuck the Birds. 52 to 48% seems pretty accurate, but whenever he fixes his lineup, it'll probably be about even. Should be about 50-50. About a 50-50 ball. But, if we were to flip a coin 7 times and I called heads, it'd be heads like 6 times. All right. We got the Brownie Boy versus Alex. This is gonna be great. I think Brownie has a bounce back week. I think his team has been performing way under their actual potential. So I think this week he actually gets one of those explosive weeks, turns it up into 1 and 2. I believe it. You know what I'm saying? Alvin Kamara is looking prime time, but let's just go through the matchups here. Daniels versus Hurts. I like Daniels, man. I think he has a lot of fantasy upside. Jalen Hurts is obviously a beast, but I don't know. I just think Saquon being on that team and like not utilizing him really hurt them last week. They didn't run the ball as often as they did for some reason last week. They seem to have been pulling him out quite frequently and letting Jalen run the ball. They lost to the Falcons. Maybe they've learned the lesson. Probably not, though. It's the Eagles. Ford versus Taylor. I like Taylor in this matchup. He gets to go against Chicago, though. You know what I'm saying? Real good defense. Not that great against the run overall, though. So we'll see if we get to shut him down. Ford gets to go against the Giants, though. So that projection might be a lot closer than we actually think. Gibbs versus Kamara, another great running back matchup. Both these teams have great running backs. Kamara looks like this guy is so talented, dude. His contact to balance is so good. He takes a hit and he like doesn't move. He just keeps running. And Gibbs, it's like Rocky. They changed up like the way they use him, so it's like weird because when he gets the ball, he's super efficient, but splitting like half and half between two running backs doesn't seem to be working for one or the other. I think one of them needs to like stay on the field to really get going, and I hope it's Gibbs. Olave versus Pittman. Derek Carr's been looking kind of nice. Richardson's been looking kind of ass. Maybe Olave will actually get a couple balls thrown down into his hands here. So I'll go with Olave. Rashee Rice versus Addison. Is Addison even going to play? Is this just like a hopeful plug? Misses practice again. That's a hopeful plug. So give me Rashee Rice. Henry versus Kincaid. Honestly, Kincaid hasn't been as productive as we thought. Even though he should be the better tight end here, Hunter Henry actually gets a lot of usage out of his team. So give me Hunter Henry. McLaurin versus Warren. I'm gonna keep saying it until it's true. Jaden I almost call him Jaden McDaniels. Jaden Daniels is a deep ball threat. Like, I don't understand why they don't let him throw the ball. I think once they do let him throw the ball, McLaurin will become a way better receiver than what it's showing currently. Warren seems to be getting more healthy, though, and he's getting a lot more touches, and so we got to worry about that. Keep an eye on that. I don't know who wins that matchup. I think they both are both below 10 points, unless one scores a touchdown. One of them will probably score a touchdown. He's still starting Johnson. Give it up. Sharps, give it up. Unless Kenneth Walker is playing. Well, if Kenneth Walker is playing, then Sharps is completely screwed. But even if he wasn't playing, like 14 attempts for 38 yards, give it up. Still had some decent fantasy value. 16 points is pretty solid. All trolls aside. Goff versus Lawrence. I like Trevor Lawrence. He's just not playing that well again this year, so it's kind of hard to look at. He does have a pretty solid receiver in that Brian Thomas Jr. guy, though. Jared Goff, he's exactly that. He's just a goof. Just a freaking goofball. Buffalo versus Jacksonville. Seattle versus Miami. Well, Seattle doesn't have to deal with Tua, and I don't know how they're going to get the ball out. Although the running game's still solid. I guess give me Seattle in that matchup. Oof, the benches are looking rough, boys. I would honestly start like Justin Fields over over Lawrence until Lawrence proves he can throw the ball for a couple touchdowns. I do like Brownie in this matchup though. Give me Brownie. All right, we got Brett versus Adam. We got Richardson versus Tua turn the ball over. He's probably gonna have to. Yeah, he's probably got to figure that one out. Yeah, hopefully he has a backup or something along those lines. So give me Richardson. Jones versus Barkley. It's Barkley, and it's not even close. Stevenson versus Najee. Give me Stevenson, just a heavier workload overall, and like he is their offense essentially. Jefferson versus Chase. Jefferson looked like he tweaked something last week. Limited practice, so that's good. It's his quad though. For somebody who makes a living by running and trying to catch a ball, a quad injury is not that great to look at. So give me Jamar Chase. I think the Bengals have a bounce back week though, so that's a big reason. London versus Metcalf, and honestly two of my least favorite highly rated receivers to hit the fantasy market. Both of these guys are like solid WR2, WR3s, like on the low end. Both have good explosive power. Honestly, it just depends on like what kind of game plan is happening and if their coach actually decides to use them. So just count those as zeros in my eyes. Laporta versus Kelsey. Straight up both playing like dog farts this year. I'm not gonna lie. Laporta so far this year has been the biggest letdown. Kelsey is like he has age, so like nobody's like surprised that he's kind of taken a steep fall off. Laporta, on the other hand, everyone thought he was going to take his go into his second year and absolutely dominate, but not looking like that. But if I had to choose one, I would choose Kelsey. Godwin versus Flowers. Both looking real nice. Both projections are really close. I would do the same. I think they're both projected right. They should be right around the same. Rashid versus Moss. Moss has great usage, but Shaheed's been Derek Carr's guy. So give me Shaheed. Cousins versus Geno. Kirk Cousins. Everybody loves Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cuzzo. Stacked with Drake London is kind of nice. Geno Smith stacked with Metcalf is kind of nice. So, yeah, you guys are really going to – what is going to – I guess is going to come down to is if the Falcons win and, like, dominate, then Brett will probably win. And if Seahawks win and dominate Miami, then Adam will probably win. Niners versus Steelers, both great defenses, good pickups, guys. Projections are both at 11.5. Niners gets a little bit of an edge just because they get to go against the Rams. And I love Stafford. I think Stafford's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. It's just he has nobody to throw to, so it's going to be really rough for them out there. Who do I think is going to win? Well, considering Adam hasn't started another QB, I'm going to have to give it to Brett. Hopefully Adam sees this in time. All right, so we got the Sanhish Farter and we got Mami Mirza. So haters going to hate, and we're going to keep hating. So I really hope none of them win. I hope they tie. And they have the first ever fantasy football tie, and then they go 1-1-1. That would be awesome. I'm just playing. I'm gonna go with the Ron Turd Sausage Farter here. Everybody knows why. Let's keep it a buck. Caleb versus CJ. Give me CJ here. I want to believe in Caleb. I want to say he's great. I want to say he's going to have a blow-up week. But, yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. Line is atrocious. Jacobs versus Kyron. Kyron doesn't have a line to run behind. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to keep saying this. Kyron is pretty great running back, but he doesn't have a line. And he's not a big physical specimen, so he can't just force yards. He's an elusive back. So if he's getting touched right off the gate, he's not going anywhere. So give me Jacobs, who's probably going to get a million handoffs again this week. He's questionable, but I think he's still going to play. Walker versus Robinson. Walker has a Q tag but didn't practice, so that's not looking good. Not trending in the right direction. Need to see a practice out of him or get some good news soon. Otherwise, he's probably not playing week 3, which hurts the Ron Tard Sausage Farters case for winning. But Brian Robinson has been looking pretty good. But Eckler's been. It looks like Eckler's starting to get more and more involved. It looked like week 2 he was a bit more involved. So a trend that isn't favorable for a highly rated fantasy running back, because eventually one of them's going to do good, one of them's not going to do so good, and one will hit the bench. Tyreek versus Tank Dell. Obviously Tyreek is the more talented receiver. He just doesn't have a quarterback to throw to him as of right now, so that's a bit tough. Normally I'd pick Tyreek 99 out of 100 times, but Tank Dell has a healthy CJ to throw to him, so I'm taking Tank Dell. I think Tank Dell's going to have a big week. I think he had a couple of missed plays last week. I don't think him and CJ Stroud make those same sort of mistakes over and over again. I do think it has a lot to do with the Bears kind of disrupting all passing lanes, and they don't get enough credit for that. Neighbors versus Diggs. Give me Neighbors. Neighbors seems to just be absorbing that offense. He is that offense, straight up. Diggs, touchdown reliant, less so than Tank Dell is, to be completely honest with you. I think Tank Dell is going to get his. He's going to run his route trees, and he's going to get to the ball. Whereas Diggs seems to be getting pulled out and only is in certain sets as well. And he doesn't look that great. Like, obviously it's a new team. You're learning a new system. But in my opinion, he hasn't looked that great. Schultz versus Kittle. Schultz has a Q tag, limited practice, ankle. His back-to-back practices last week, but was able to get a full session in, so that's looking all right. Between Schultz and Likely, honestly, I'd still probably start Likely, even though like I meme on it and like joke about it. I do think Likely has more of an involvement in their offense. So even though I joke and I kid about Likely, Isaiah Likely, still I think still better than Schultz as of right now. Kittle's looking good though. No Debo. Normally the usage without Debo for Kittle is extremely high. So that's good for Sarah. Give me Kittle in that matchup. Montgomery versus Dobbins. Dude, straight up, Harbaugh is teaching one hell of a line over there. Both Montgomery and Dobbins have a pretty solid run game. Like, they both have a good line to run behind. Montgomery, on the other hand, has to split with Jahmyr Gibbs, who, like, they're both straight up getting 50-50 work. So even though I don't want to say it, I do think David M's a better running back. I'm going to have to say Dobbins just because he gets more volume, more chances at fantasy value. Brian Thomas versus Eckler. Give me Brian Thomas. The biggest problem, and I'm going to keep saying this, is you keep starting two players, like two receivers for the same team, two running backs for the same team. That is an absolute recipe for failure. It's not going to work. One player is going to give you a gooser eventually. And it's straight up, it lost you last week to me. And I wouldn't have won if you had maybe started to like another player somewhere else. Well, I guess there's not really much options here. I think you just picked up Pierce. That's a pretty solid pickup. Jacoby seems to be sleeping, but Jacoby's like one of those guys who randomly has like 2 to 3 touchdown games. Surprisingly got only 43% of the snaps, but he got 8 attempts this time, that's just like I said. I think they're starting to incorporate Eckler a little bit more into the game here. Eventually, Brian and Eckler it's just gonna be who does better. Tank Dell and Diggs will be in the same route sets, running different, like switching out between running in the slot. I don't know. That's tough. they're both like they're clearly both talented. Obviously, like I'm not saying that they're not talented. They're both good players. It's just it's so hard in fantasy to pin down which one's gonna do good. Chicago versus Colts. Give me Chicago defense. Dallas gets to go against the Ravens. I think Lamar Jackson has a huge week. Definitely no bias there. I just think that Dallas's defense is starting to show their true colors. They were running on a real big high last year. Haven't even shown a glimpse of that same ability this year. But I could be wrong. It could be this week that they start to show it. But either way, I'm taking the Bears. And I'm taking the sausage farter. All right, we got Moisa versus Eddie. This is the matchup of the week right here. This is what everybody should be watching. The beef is there. The juice is there. The matchup is there. Two of the more highly projected teams. Eddie's team just had like probably the shittiest week that his team will see all season. And then Mirza just had the best week that his team will probably see all season. And so you put 2 and 2 together, you got a shitstorm. You know what I'm saying? I feel like they're both going to even out here. They're both going to probably hit around their projections. It's going to be hot. Like 150 might be a little crazy. It's definitely possible. I'm projecting more of like a 148, 144, 145 situation from these guys. It's going to be close. It's going to come down to the last players. It's going to be fun. We got Fatty Mahomes. We got Skyler Murray. Now, you see Fatty Mahomes gets to go against the Falcons, which the Falcons are riding a high, but I think they're about to get shown that they got lucky. I think Fatty Mahomes is about to come out here, and I don't know what the game plan is from the Chiefs, but I think he's going to put up some good fantasy value. Kyler had an insane week. I personally am one of those people who don't think Kyler is a consistent quarterback. He's a solid quarterback. When he performs well, he looks like a friggin' all-star. But when he plays bad, he plays really bad. And you don't know what kind of week you're going to get from him. But he is good for fantasy regardless of what kind of week he has. Achane versus Henry. Henry was pretty underwhelming last week, to be honest with you. But he still got 17 points, which is like crazy. I guess he did get the touchdown that kind of like saved him. A reception for 12 yards is pretty solid, even though it's only one. I don't know. I think Harbaugh has completely just dropped the ball on Derrick Henry. Like, to only use Derrick Henry for 46% of snaps is honestly a disservice and one of the trash things I've ever seen. Achane's a beast, though. 62% usage, 22 attempts, 96 yards, 7 targets, 7 receptions. Can't beat those numbers. Those are fucking good numbers right there. So I'm going to take Achane. Derrick Henry does have, like, insane touchdown upside, though. Like, he could pop off for 3 touchdowns in one night. You never really know. Achane has the same ability, but I think without Tua turn the ball over playing, it's going to be really rough to disguise a scheme and, like, get him to break loose. So I do kind of like Derrick Henry a little bit more in this matchup. Mason versus Mixon. Mason gets to go against the Rams, so that's a buff. Mixon is going against the Vikings. He had hurt his ankle a little bit last weekend, but he was able to come back in. He was able to play. He was able to, I think, practice today. Holding out hope, can play this week. Well, they're hopeful. I'm hopeful. We're all hopeful. I think Mason is a solid running back. He has a better offensive line to run behind. I don't think he's the better overall running back. I just think that he has a better team to run behind. So that's probably the only reason why Mason might outscore Mixon. But Mixon will probably make up for it if he gets one more of these 30-attempt games. Equilibrium St. Brown versus DJ Moore. If Caleb decides to turn up the heat a little bit, DJ Moore could explode for a huge week soon. Amon-Ra, on the other hand, does seem to be getting more comfortable through this year. Last week, it seemed like they finally were able to get back into tempo with Jared Goff. But give me DJ Moore. No bias at all. Devontae Smith versus Amari Cooper. Give me Smitty. Smitty just doesn't have to compete with A.J. Brown anymore. And then the second to most threatening receiver on that team is, what's his name? I had a shitty ass last year. Jahan Dotson. That's his name. Fuck that guy. I already forgot him. Forget about it. McBride versus Hill. McBride is certified target tree in this offense. Pretty good for him. But Taysom Hill is one of those guys that, you throw him in, you never know. He's always getting used. You never know when he's gonna break out for 2 or 3 touchdowns. That's why you play him. So a lot of upside from Hill and McBride. His floor. His ceiling. Sutton versus Connor. Give me Connor. Give me the Okama Game Sphere. Sutton is dog shit. Bo Nix is dog shit. Not a good combo. Not a good combo there, honestly. Pollard versus Worthy. Give me Pollard. I believe Tajay Spears just went down with an injury, so Pollard's probably going to get a pretty good workload here. I don't know if they bring in a third running back to play behind him consistently. They'll probably pick one up just for when he's tired, but other than that, we might not see Pollard come out of the game that often. Worthy's proving to be what most rookies are, which is just touchdown dependent and just kind of rookie woes, just trying to figure it out. 17 yards off 2 receptions, whereas the week before he had 2 receptions, 47 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Oh no, 1 touchdown and 1 rushing touchdown. I don't know why it doesn't show his rushing touchdown, but whatever. Exciting player, one of the fastest dudes in the league, so gotta watch out for that. Derek Carr versus Prescott. Do I have to choose one? It's fucked up. I think they're both going to score 0 points. That's what I'll go with. They're going to both score 0 points. And that spot will be useless for both of them. It's going to be a wash. Wash of 0. Browns get to go against the Giants. Honestly, the Browns are good. They have a good defense, terrible offense. So the offense might keep the defense out on the field. They might get tired, let up some big points. Whereas Baltimore gets to go against Dak Prescott. So, they're probably going to get a few turnovers here. Ravens got a couple statement games coming up, I think. I think they're going to come out hot. They've been losing. So I think they got a fire lit up under their ass. Who I think is going to win this week? Honestly, I'm going to have to go with Eddie, man. Just because Merz has been yapping over there, man. I feel like the yapping been going too crazy. A little too brazy over there, man. You know what I'm saying? I feel like Eddie's got to show him, bro. I think this is why we're all excited. I think the energy's there. The rivalry is there. I think these two are definitely solidified rivalries this year. And I'm excited because they got week 3, which means I think they get to play again against each other. All right. We got Alex versus Tim. Joe Burrow with a bounce back week. So let's give it to Joe Burrow. Aaron Rodgers is going to figure it out. I think he's going to probably throw a couple touchdowns. He gets to go against the Patriots. 30 attempts for only 18 completions is pretty harsh for an Aaron Rodgers stat. I do think this attempt number is probably going to scale and maybe plateau around 35. But still give me Joe Burrow for now. I think Rodgers is a couple weeks away from showing his true self again. Bijan versus Brees. Give me Bijan, man. He looked really good last week. Usage is there. Brees Hall. We all thought he was going to be like a hog, but it looked like his snap percentage went down last week, even though his efficiency went up. I think that's a good thing, which means there's also opportunity for the other running backs at this point to come in do what they did last week, which is steal touchdowns, steal a couple yards, potentially even steal a couple more snaps. Khalil versus Pacheco. Pacheco's not playing, but Tim's probably not going to watch this, so we all know what happens if he doesn't switch his players. Shame, shame, I know your name. Khalil Herbert is rough, but honestly, don't blame you. If they were going to make a switch at running back usage, it would probably be week 3 here to see if Khalil Herbert can do any more damage behind this line than Swift. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I would just play touchdown dependent Ezekiel Elliott or touchdown dependent Gus Bus over Khalil, but Bears bias tells me to keep him in. But fantasy wise, the other two, it probably makes just a little bit more sense. Judy the Booty gets to go against CeeDee Lamb. You're going to have to give me CeeDee Lamb. Talented guy. Judy's on the Browns. Also talented, but he's on the Browns. Ridley versus Evans. Ridley just had an insane week. Do I think he's going to have another insane week? Probably not that insane, but it's not out of the question. He's looking solid. His routes have been looking pretty good. He's actually creating separation on his routes. It's just a matter of if Will Levis will get him the ball. Whereas Mike Evans, on the other hand, has a QB who's definitely getting him the ball. So that's pretty solid. So give me Mike Evans there. Goddard versus Pitts. Give me Goddard. Pitts is just Pitts. He just smells like Pitts. He's shit like Pitts. Just dog Pitts. Yoshi. I think that's pronounced Yoshivas. Andre Yoshivas. He just had an insane week. But really, all of his fantasy value came from the 2 touchdowns. He only had 7 yards. And then 26 the week before that. Personally, would not play him, but that's just me. So give me Nico Collins. I know he's questionable, but he's expected to play. Rashad White versus Pickens. Rashad just gets more usage, and he's going to get more, like, this reception number is probably going to go back up to what we normally see, which is like the 6 receptions, 6 targets. But last week, it just wasn't in the script. It wasn't in the game plan. I think it will be, especially against Denver. I think we'll see a little bit more Rashad White this week than Bucky Irving. George Pickens is an explosive player, but on a team that doesn't throw the ball that often, it's really hard to rationalize him beating somebody who will get the ball more often than not. Stafford versus Levis. Stafford doesn't have any receivers, but I'll still take your Stafford with no receivers and no linemen over a Will Levis. Chiefs versus the Falcons. I think I like the Chiefs over the Jets versus Patriots. Patriots have been playing a lot better than like what we expected. So I think this projection around 12 will probably be around like 9 to 10, and same thing with the Chiefs, like 9 to 10. So pretty accurate there. Definitely don't have a gun in my head, but I will take Alex in this matchup. Just like Brownie, I think, and just in terms of like returning and regressing to the mean, I think her team is due for like a big week. And Tim has had a bigger week and like a sort of middling week, and he probably will have like another middling week. But I think Alex will have a blow up week. So we'll go with that. All right, everybody. Tried to keep this one a little bit shorter. I know it went on still like 30 minutes, but oh well. You know, I like going through the matchups. I like talking. I like yapping. Hopefully y'all enjoyed it though. Have a good rest of your week, and best of luck to all of you.